Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Make sure you share this, like it, all that good stuff. We're going to have a good show. I just want to do some shout outs. I feel like I haven't done shout outs in forever. So before we get started, we're going to do some shout outs. Jesus Samora, what's going on? Max, what's going on? Geography Pro just got the Jimmy Dore live stream on this. I saw a piece of it. I did catch a piece of it earlier. He was making some brilliant points as usual. Honestly, this is the first time I ever really seen him criticize Cenk by name openly. Like basically saying like, "Yo, stop bending over, stop capitulating." It's it's Dave opened the door. Love the background. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thought Cenk respected Woman. Oh man. Robert Tierney. What's going on? What's going on? Kevin Turrell. Love the channel. Oh man, I appreciate that. Randy, what's going on? What's saying, everybody? If y'all could share this, I know a lot of people are still in Jimmy's chat, so it's cool. But Andrew Edwards, much love. I appreciate the super chat. Ruben Masagua, what's good? What's good? Allison Irwin, aloha, hola, bom dia. Yeah, aí. Natalie Chavez, what's going on? How you doing? I bet Jimmy was over there acting a whole fool. I know you already shared, Natalie. You always share because you dope. I don't think Bernie's campaign. Do you think Bernie's campaign has been compromised by the establishment? Oh yeah, of course. But that's been a thing though. That's not new. I don't think that has anything to do with. Well, it does, but not as much as people would think it is. Dap the vegan. What's going on? McCracy just came over from Jimmy. And Nat, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Just in kind of dealing with the holidays. You know how that goes. Altruism in service. What's going on? Hey Niko, great progressive channel. It's tough going at times. Stay the course. Oh man, tell me about it. It's a headache. It is a headache. You know what's a headache? And y'all gonna laugh at me. But for the people who have been watching our channel for a minute, they're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. Me and Fiorella joke about this all the time. You know, one of the most difficult things to be in journalism? Being right 6 months in advance all the time. That is exhausting because you get attacked because when you're right, oftentimes, especially if you're right and no one else is able to predict the outcome, it's usually going to go against some conventional logic that people have already established. And so you basically you get attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked. And then when it comes to fruition, nobody really gives you credit for it. That's what's so funny about it. Because remember, when we were talking about Elizabeth Warren in February, me, Pasta, and Fiorella went on a whole rant, a hard rant about this when I was in California. We were blowing the whistle on Elizabeth Warren while everybody else was calling her the second most progressive person in the race. Everybody was saying that she's almost as good as Bernie Sanders. And we were telling everybody the truth. We were being attacked for it. And now that everybody finally realized the truth, everybody wants to act like nobody was boosting Warren in February. Like progressive channels were boosting Warren. Progressive channels were pretending as if Warren was a progressive. I don't even give a damn if you were saying she was the third most progressive. No, she's not a progressive. Like, period, point blank. So, but that's exhausting. That shit gets exhausting. And we're gonna keep doing what we do, but it's just irritating. It's like hey, we said that Tulsi was gonna be the most Google candidate. We said that too, right? We said that she was still gonna be in this race. Said she was going. I'm predicting she's gonna either win New Hampshire or finish top two, if not tie. I think she'll finish. I think she's gonna win though. Guess what's gonna happen then? People gonna say we were lucky. We don't know anything. That was just a one off. That like, bro, how many times? There's a reason that like Pasta and Fiorella and myself and even Robbie, when he digs into his research and starts exposing these organizations, there's a reason that we're getting it right. Because we're the only ones who are going to give you the objective analysis, not based on our feelings, not based on who we did and didn't endorse. The facts are the facts. Fiorella gets attacked all the time because she's endorsed Bernie, but she defends Tulsi, and she'll admit when Tulsi's better than Bernie at something. Like, I thought that's what you would want in a journalist, but people prefer sycophancy. So, started my channels 2 years ago, inspired by you, Niko. Oh man, I appreciate that, Dissident Science. I really do. That's awesome. That's really amazing. I'm glad. I'm gonna check it out. You set yourself up for a high bar now, so I gotta check it out. Ruben Masagar, yeah, that's because you did call everything that has happened almost 100% accurately. I appreciate that, Ruben. I really do. It's kind of like getting a donation from the KKK member and then having to give it back. I'm assuming you're talking about Buttigieg? From Jimmy to Niko, today is a good day. Ha. Much love. Addo, she is a reparations denier. Who's a reparations denier? Warren? Warren is definitely a reparations denier. Tulsi was the first candidate or candidate representative that reached out to me directly and was asking me what else, because she already supported HR 40 and she wanted to know what else, wanted me to look at the legislation and what else needed to be discussed regarding reparations to help convince people, because when that time comes, if she is going to be president, she wants to get it right, and she wants to be able to persuade the public. So I know you're not talking about Tulsi. Warren's the one who looked at everybody and said, yeah, we'll give reparations, and then turned around and was like, nah, we're not giving no reparations. Why is the progressive voice constantly going after me? Because he doesn't have a girlfriend or a life. And well, there's two options when you're the progressive voice, not just the progressive voice, but people like him. He's faced with a particular dilemma. He has been an avid follower of TYT, Kyle, and even Sam Cedar to a degree, David Hackman, or David A. Packman, if you will. And he's in a particular dilemma because it was easy to follow TYT. There's a formula that you follow on. If anybody watches progressive YouTube and the super woke people, I know you know what I'm talking about. There's a formula. What you do if you want to become successful on YouTube almost immediately is you jump onto YouTube, you say Bernie's name over and over again, you kiss TYT's ass, you kiss Kyle Kalinski's ass. Kyle's my boy, by the way, y'all know this, but he's quite aware of this as well. And he even talks about, like, he doesn't like when people try to siphon off views by being sycophants and dickheads. So you gotta kiss the ass of that inner circle, right? And then you're instantly successful. Here's the problem that we in particular uniquely present to people like the progressive voice. We're always right and TYT is always wrong. I don't know how else to put that. I know that sounds immodest, but I know that sounds immodest, but in all seriousness, that's the facts. Because if you all recall, the progressive voice is super loud and he wants to mention my name all the time now. But whenever we put Anna on skates, and when I mean put her on skates, she challenged me and she skated. And when I accepted, I clapped back at her. She skated out of the room. We have not seen Anna since. She was talking all that trash, wanted to call me out on Twitter, and guess what? Where was Progressive Voice? And people were tagging him. You're not going to make a video about this? You're not going to make a video about this? Niko, shut Anna up. You're not going to make a video? Nowhere to be found. What has Progressive Voice done as far as covering Emma and Anna, Googling and Gagaing over Elizabeth Warren? I'm just saying. The truth of the matter is, we know our shit. And not only do we know our shit, but we're not afraid to call people out on their bullshit. And he is a bullshitter. He's a bullshitter extraordinaire. He's an ass kisser. There's nothing substantive about what he does. And it's sad because I actually believe that he's a smart enough kid that if he actually put in the work, he could be more than a TMZ or a drama-driven channel. He could be more than that. But he won't be because he's more worried about kissing ass. You know what I'm saying? So if he wants to keep mentioning my name, I'm cool with the free promotion. I'm fine with that. But just like most people, he ain't gonna step on his channel. He not gonna step on the debate stage with me. He not gonna go blow for blow with me rhetorically. He not gonna go blow for blow with me with the facts. And anybody wants to go blow to blow with me with the facts, I don't give a damn who it is. We can do it. And it's funny that, and this is the same thing for Michael Brooks. Michael Brooks had the same situation. He wanted to talk all that shit on Twitter, and I was like, hold up, bro. Didn't I tell you I'm not talking to you on Twitter no more? If you want to have a debate with me, we're not going back and forth for 280 characters, bro. We're both adults. We both have platforms. We both have cameras. And you intellectually masturbate all the time. So if you have a gripe or a grievance, stop dodging and come get this work. Period, point blank. Where he been at? Where Michael Brooks? Michael Brooks, once again, another person who could tag me on Twitter. If I've ever tagged, anybody who's been following me knows this. If I've tagged you on Twitter, that means you can get this work. Send me the DM. We can get it popping. Anybody who's following me. If you can tell me one time where I ran away from a debate, ran away from a discussion. If I'm lying, I'm dying. If I'm lying, you can strike me with lightning. But that's not how I get down. Because what's funny is, if I'm willing to attack you for an opinion, right? Or critique you or criticize you sharply for an opinion, and I'm willing to tell other people not to listen to you because your opinion is that consistently bad, then I better damn well be ready when you want to test your opinion against my opinion, and I better be ready to defend myself and my opinion, regardless of the outcome of the discussion. That's how I feel about it. So if I'm telling you you're full of shit, you're more than welcome to come here and prove that you're not full of shit. But at the end of the day, that's not what people are about, man. It's a bunch of punk asses, and this I hate to use the term betas, but there's a lot of beta personalities in the progressive movement. There really are. Like it's facts. I hate using that term, but I'm not Mike Cernovich or these people that just use it to describe anybody who isn't a right-wing nut job. Because we're empathetic and sympathetic. That's not how I'm using. I mean, we have legitimate beta personalities, but we have beta personalities in the progressive movement who are posing as if they're alpha personalities, which makes them dangerous. But it's easy to expose them because they do a bunch of beta personality shit. They talk shit, they hide behind their followers, but then when you challenge them, they scurry away and they act like they don't know who you are, right? They subtweet you. You know what I'm talking. How many times have we had discussions about Medicare for all on this channel? And people want to talk about what is and is not Medicare for all. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. All y'all are acting like y'all know what the hell y'all talking about, but I'm the only one who's worked in the industry. So if you want to come and debate me on the topic, we can debate on it. You're just a Tosi sycophant. No, I've worked in the industry. No, you're just a Tosi sycophant. No, I've worked in the industry. No, you're just a Tosi sycophant. But I've worked in the industry and you've literally never talked about healthcare until Bernie talked about Medicare for all. I literally did this every day for 9 hours, 10 hours a damn day. And I was actually one of the best in my damn job too. But that's cool. I used to help impoverished people who couldn't afford healthcare, get good plans that fit their family's needs. It wasn't the perfect plan, but that's what we did. And I really enjoyed it. So, Penguins fan, Tulsi got smeared about Russia favorite because Professor Stephen Cohen was a Russian historian and contributor to her campaign. Yeah. She also got smeared because somebody from Redacted Tonight donated to her campaign. Man, look, I'm 15 minutes in. Y'all got me out here ranting and raving, boy. Big Irv. Big Irv's back. What's going on, man? Appreciate the super chat. Bruh, I be crying mad when I see them calling fake ass Warren a progressive. And then got the nerve to call Tulsi not progressive. I know. But to keep it real, the reason they call Tulsi, they have to go, you notice that they hedge their bet with Warren, but they go all in with when they attack Tulsi, right? So they go, well, Warren's not at first, right? Now Warren's considered more of a threat to Bernie, so it's a little bit different. And we're going to get started here in a second. I just wanted the audience to build up because it was building up kind of slow. I know a lot of people didn't get notifications. But the issue that I had was that people would kind of like, Warren's second best. You know, she's not the best progressive, but she's good on things like Wall Street finance reform. That's what they would say. They would always hedge their bets because they didn't want to piss off Warren supporters who had been convinced that she's a progressive. But when it came to Tulsi, they would go all. I mean, I remember David Dole one time said that Tulsi was holding private fundraisers. And so when I heard that, I'm like, oh, but even in what I would consider Tulsi's liberal days, when she was an actual Democrat, she didn't do that. Like, she just that's not her thing. She's very transparent. So I'm like, I call the campaign, and I'm like, hold up. When did y'all hold a private fundraiser? She's like, we have never held a private fundraiser. What are you talking about? I was like, because that's what this guy just said. And I'm like, where would he even read that? There was no article about it. So David Dole just made up some shit and said that Warren wouldn't do that. That's what he was contrasting with. He said Bernie and Warren wouldn't do that, except for Bernie has done that. Bernie did that in LA for $200 a plate. The story never got covered, though, of course. But Tulsi has never done $200 a head or $100 a head or whatever. So they were saying Warren's wishy-washy on Medicare for all, but Tulsi is a neoliberal Pete Buttigieg type of person on Medicare for all. Wishy-washy? This is the person who never supported Medicare. So they'll go out of their way to apply the worst descriptors and gaslight Tulsi so that you can't ever get to the point of having a genuine discussion about what Tulsi is better at and what Bernie is better at. They want to convince you that Bernie is better at everything, because if Tulsi ever does become legitimate competition for Bernie, then it might not be as much of a competition as many may think it is. Yes, electorally it would be a competition, of course, but once you do the digging, which is how I got to the point of making my endorsement, because I wasn't going to endorse anybody at first. But once I did the digging, I've had one-on-one conversations with Bernie. I've had one-on-one conversations with Tulsi. Not only that, but I've had conversations with people in both campaigns respectively. And so I saw the direction that Tulsi's campaign and Tulsi was heading in. And I saw the direction that Bernie's campaign and Bernie was heading in. And if Tulsi wasn't running, I would have endorsed Bernie. Bernie would be clearly the best option, but Tulsi is the better option. Bernie has a better chance of winning right now electorally, but that's not what I base my endorsement on. I base my endorsement. Guess what? In 2016, before we knew everything like there was to know about Hillary, which was it was way worse than what we originally thought in the beginning of the election, I still endorsed Bernie. It didn't matter if he had the electoral advantage. I would get trashed about it all the time by Hillary supporters and Democrats in general. But once again, it was the same thing as in 2016, except for obviously Bernie is not Hillary by any stretch of the imagination, but it was the same thing. Hillary supporters were gaslight because eventually if you gave Bernie too much oxygen and his policies too much, it was clear that it wasn't even a damn competition. Now, it isn't like not a competition between Tulsi and Bernie. Bernie his domestic policies are fantastic. I think they're the best. However, there's an argument that could be made that Tulsi, although is I would say is second best on domestic policy, the conviction to get the policies done and knowing that she would actually sign Bernie's legislation and would fight for Bernie's legislation, in addition to her being by far the best on foreign policy, like literally the only one qualified to be commander in chief in this race. Like, then there's no competition. Because once again, and I keep saying I'm gonna get started, but I'm gonna get started now. This was gonna be a long rant of a video anyway, so I'm chilling. But but the difference is, and I say this all the time, and I don't know how many times I have to say it, I might say it 100 more times for the end of this election. If I go to a job interview and I'm applying to be manager, and they're like, you have to have, these are the main skills you need. You have to be able to use Microsoft Office proficiently. And you also have to have good personality management skills. And I walk into that job interview and they're like, now I'm serious about this. Microsoft Office proficiency is 70% of the job. And I'm like, well, yeah, but here's the thing though. I'm really socially intelligent. I'm very good with personalities. I'm so great at personalities that I think, honestly, that you should just forget the fact that I'm not proficient in Microsoft Office. I can use Microsoft Word though sometimes, as long as you don't give me any advanced tasks. But Microsoft Access and Microsoft Excel, nah, I can't do those. But 70% of the job application is very clear. It says right here, 70% of like this is the main, like you can't control all these different personalities. Like you can do what you can, but you're not in control of them. You can't decide for them how well they'll do their work, how well they'll engage with others. But you can literally control Microsoft Office with your fingertips, your decisions, period. There's no debate about what you type into that computer. Yeah, but I'm really, really good at managing personalities. But just because you manage personalities doesn't mean you're going to get a guaranteed outcome. If you can manage Microsoft Office, you can absolutely get a guaranteed outcome. Yeah, but hear me out. All these people want me to be the manager because of how good I am at managing personalities. Okay, so let me explain. You're applying for a job where 70% of it is Microsoft Office. And you're telling me you can't do Microsoft Office. I can do Microsoft Word. I didn't ask you that. I asked you, because that's Iraq, in case you haven't got the joke yet. Whenever Bernie's like, but I voted against Iraq. I asked you, are you proficient in Microsoft Office? And you just keep bringing up the fact that you're good at Microsoft Word. That's not what I asked you. Okay? So once again, the moral of the story is that motherfucking hiring manager is not going to call me back. He is not going to call me back if I just told him that I am not good at 70% of the job that I'm required to do. And that is the difference between Tulsi and literally everyone else in the presidential field so far. Period, point blank. If I can't do 70% of the job, I'm not getting a call back for a second interview, let alone getting the job. They're going to find somebody who can do both goddamn jobs. Period, point blank. Overbound Game Studio. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. Thanks for all you do, Niko, especially DNC lawsuits. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you tuning in, and thank you very much, very, very much for the super chat. Anyway, I'm like, man, let's go ahead and get this damn show started. I got me ranting. Hold on, let me get my. I got to get my vape pen. No, it is not that kind of vape pen. Although I wish it was. I mean, it can be that type of vape pen, but it isn't that type of vape pen today. Just a regular vape pen today. Love Ways. Tulsi has the best. I know there are many that would consider her the best on domestic. Depending on how you're measuring the best, then I'm not. So, for example, the OFF Act is the best environmental and climate change policy, and it isn't even close. The Bernie's version of the Green New Deal is very, very good. It is great when it comes to economics. It is not great, however, when it comes to environmental and climate change. Okay? He uses a lot of the neoliberal methodologies to deal with climate change, which ultimately puts money back in the money and power back in the hands of corporations. That's not what Tulsi's bill did and does, which is why Tulsi's bill is the only one that has been sponsored by 400 climate and environmental organizations, and no one else's, including Bernie's, hasn't. There's a reason for that. So some people say that Tulsi is better on domestic policy, and if you put me in a debate scenario, I could argue that pretty proficiently, to be honest with you. And but there's a debate to be had about it. But on foreign policy, there is quite literally zero debate to be had. And anybody who says that Bernie is better than Tulsi on foreign policy, or even suggests anything like that, they are not to be taken seriously. That is fanboying. Tulsi 2020, I'm in Boca, will buy you lunch and get you science woke. Neil deGrasse Tyson is the Jake Tapper of big science. Watch your car since you car video. Oh man, I don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Ever since he made, bro, I'm like almost 30 minutes into this rant and we haven't even talked about the subject yet. Why y'all doing this to me? But I remember watching this video of Neil deGrasse Tyson that really exposed how limited his thought or his logic is, and how we kind of all get trapped in our own bubbles. And I feel like the hubris of humanity like guides too many of these elitists. If you're an elite in your particular field, it isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you get trapped in a bubble. I remember watching this video where Neil deGrasse Tyson and a few others, I believe even Elon Musk was in this video, but they were talking about the fact that we're in a simulation, right? And I'm like, okay, well, let me hear the logic in this, because it's not like a far-fetched idea to believe that we're in some type of simulation, but I believe that we're in a mental simulation. Like our brains are simulating and controlling what we can view in our reality, because if we saw reality as for what it is, then we would go crazy. Hence why degenerative brain diseases like dementia, like Alzheimer's, people are like talking to people, right? Bipolar disorder, not bipolar, schizophrenia. Like it's like a filter has been broke, and we're calling them crazy by our standards because they're not acting normal. But they're probably talking to somebody that's really there, and we should probably be scared, because if they're talking to somebody, that person that they're talking to or that thing is a thing. It is a real thing. And that's why you see people get so manic and crazy and actually start to fear for their lives. So I believe that there may be potentiality for a simulation, but if it's a simulation, it's from our mind. However, Neil deGrasse Tyson and his colleagues were making the argument that we are in a simulation, and it was because they like did some data processing procedure, and it was like, it was like a bunch of ones and zeros. It looks just like a computer. Like reality is being processed like computer data, like with zeros and ones. So that must mean a computer is running the world. I said, you fucking morons. And my best friend was with me, and he was like, well, why are you saying that? I'm like, okay, hold up. So they're making the conclusion that we're in a simulation because they ran some data through a computer and it came out a bunch of ones and zeros, and that's how computer simulations work. Therefore, that's how we must be in a simulation. I was like, that is a dumb argument, because the computer is writing the data in the way that the computer understands it. And then that way we can read the data, in the way we can read it and process it. That does not mean just because we can read the zeros and ones and we can process it, and that's how the computer chooses to process reality. Motherfucker, we made the computer. We made the computer. The computer is doing what we told it to do in order to understand the data we are giving the computer. That's dumb. If you're saying we're in a computer simulation based off of that particular rationale, that's dumb as hell, because we made the computer that pushed out the data that you were then using to justify saying that we're in a simulation. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I feel like I said, I feel like the hubris of humanity tends to get involved, and we don't think outside of the box enough. And like, even with climate change, I'm more out of the box than a lot of my progressive colleagues. Not that we disagree on climate change existence, but I am in the camp of climate change is pushed to a certain degree in order for corporations to profit off of it, because that's what they always do. They profit off of our fear. like inevitable. Like we fear what we consider to be inevitable, right? War, climate change, things like that, even death, right? Just even if you die of old age, we fear things that we perceive to be inevitable. They profit off of that. The funeral industry is one of the most profitable industries. Yes or no? Okay. War is one of the most profitable industries, clearly. Climate change is and will be one of the most profitable industries. So you have to have a nuanced discussion about how to go about dealing with climate change, because if you've noticed, the conversation with climate change and the environment has actually been separated. When we talk about climate change, most often we do not discuss the environment in conjunction with climate change, because the solutions that would be good for the solutions to help with climate change that would be good for the environment would be bad for the profits of corporations. Catch my drift? So you got to be very nuanced in how we go about finding climate change solutions, but it's not what everybody says it is. Like, just because 99 scientists agree on something, I don't give a fuck. 99 pollsters agree that Hillary Clinton was going to win in 2016. 99 scientists can agree that climate change exists, and I'm going to be like, yeah, historically, we know climate change exists. Literally, there was a whole ice age to prove that there is clearly climate change. However, you're not going to convince me of something just because you said it and 99 other scientists who receive the same type of grants and government funding as you do all agree with you. Because I'm not going to, like, just based off of what you understand about social, like, humanity, I'm not going to be the one scientist to be ridiculed because I disagree with the other 98. So I'm going to skew my data, even if it's on an accident, even if it's subconsciously, I'm gonna make sure my data resembles yours to save my career. That is basically how things like that work. So, hot damn Bojangles, man. Let me go ahead and get this damn show started. Y'all got me out here ranting my ass off. Okay, let's get started. What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. I want to thank everybody who stuck around for my rants. If you missed the rant, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. You just missed a doozy. But for those of you who were here, appreciate you. Much love. It's okay. If you didn't catch that rant, you'll catch the next one. I promise you. That's why you got to turn on your notifications and follow me on Rockfin. Push the notification bell here. Or if you want the rants, you can either subscribe on Rockfin Premium for $9.99 a month, where you get access to all premium content on Rockfin's platform. That includes for myself, Pasa Fiorella, from the Convo Couch, Ron Pacone, Matt, Graham Elwood, Sophia, everybody, Robbie Yeager. Or you can become a patron on Patreon, and you'll get the full live streams there as well. So, with that being said, we had some crazy 48 hours. Just crazy. Listen, y'all. Do y'all know that Bernie endorsed Cenk? Did you know that Bernie unendorsed Cenk? Nah, your ears weren't deceiving you. That's exactly how that sounded. Just as quickly as I just changed the conversation from endorsement to unendorsement, that was literally how fast that process went. Now, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Okay. I'm going to give a few takes about this. Okay. I'm going to give a petty take. I'm going to give my hater of the year, Dave Chappelle take. Okay. It's going to be a petty take. Absolutely. 100%. I'm going to give my objective take, like objectively what this looks like, but I'm also going to give the political implications of this. Right. So let's read the tweet. Let's read the tweet from Bernie and talk about it. Cenk has been a long-time fighter against corruption. However, our movement is bigger than any one person. I hear my supporters who are frustrated and I understand their concerns. Cenk today said he is rejecting all endorsements for his campaign, and I retract my endorsement. Oh, man. Okay, so. Oh, man. Well, this is awkward. Because Bernie has literally never rescinded an endorsement before, to my recollection. So that's awkward. That's awkward as hell. And this was in response to a hit piece by the LA Times. It was a hit piece referring to Cenk's past that, if I'm being honest, he was already held accountable for it. He was kicked off the board for the Justice Democrats. He was excoriated by the media. He apologized for it. And like, let me just be real about it. Like, it was a blog where he was basically chastising women, saying like just a bunch of nonsense. And it was clearly the blog of somebody who didn't get laid enough, right? Can I keep it a band with y'all? Can I keep it real? He simply wasn't getting laid enough. And he was writing some not so nice things about women and the way they go about their sex lives and et cetera, et cetera. And it was literally, I mean, just, he was upset he won't get laid. I don't know where else to put it. And it was some bad stuff, but he was held accountable for it. And to be completely honest with you, this wasn't brought up to harm Cenk. It was brought up to attack Bernie. Like, if I'm being real about it. I do not believe that Cenk should have to pay for mistakes that he made. At the same time, by the way, because Cenk was not unique with his nonsense from the early 2000s. A lot of motherfuckers was saying some dumb shit in the early 2000s, right? Can we keep it a band? Yes, we can. So I don't believe that he should be constantly punished for that. Especially, ladies and gentlemen, when we have hundreds of things to be mad at Cenk about in 2019. I don't give a damn what he did in 2004. We could talk about that 20 million. We could talk about Russiagate. We could talk about kissing Warren's ass. We could, what you want to talk about, bruh? We could talk about a lot of different things that we don't have to dig in 2004, 2003 to discuss. That's how I feel. Now, here's the thing about that though. Even though, ladies and gentlemen, I don't agree that he should be excoriated for the rest of his life for mistakes that he's made. Y'all know I'm a very spiritual person. I'm a very, very spiritual person. I believe in karma, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. I believe in karma. Cenk's endorsement of Bernie was always a pragmatic one. He kissed Warren's ass and boosted Warren for 10 months. Before endorsing Bernie Sanders. He was even going to endorse Warren, except for he got brutalized in ratio in his tweet. So he changed it last minute after saying that he and Anna were endorsing two different candidates. But that isn't the extent. That isn't not even close to the extent of what Cenk has done. Cenk has betrayed the progressive movement for his own interests over and over and over and over and over again. And if you are a Cenk fan or a TYT fan, I don't give a damn, because these are the facts. The main point I can make, we can talk about Russiagate. We can talk about vote shaming people in 2016. We can talk about all that stuff. But we're just going to go back to the main hypocritical point that Cenk he beats himself on every single time. That's why I can't take nothing he says seriously. His whole thing is, I want to fight big money in politics. He talks about this often. He even tried to make some argument that Warren is better on this issue than Bernie is. Here's the problem with that argument. You talk about big money in politics specifically. You oftentimes talk about the big money that comes from corporations and flows into the Democratic Party. And your argument wouldn't be so fucking ridiculous if you didn't take 20 million from those same corporate donors who bought the Democratic Party and then try and look at us in our fucking faces and convince us that you're somehow different than the other corporate people that are getting bought off, as you're sitting there lying to us about Russiagate. I mean, is that fair? Is that a fair assessment? Like, you're full of shit. You've been lying and deceiving and conniving and slithering and like every negative damn adjective I can think of with the ing at the end of it. You've deceived and manipulated, and you've used that massive following you have to personally profit and to build up your agenda, not the agenda of the movement. You were lucky Bernie even endorsed you to begin with, because I was against that from the jump. He should have never endorsed. I don't give a damn about that shit that happened. I mean, I care about it, but you were held accountable for it. Cool, got you. You have not been held accountable for that 20 million. You have not been held accountable for Russiagate. You have not been held accountable for vote shaming. You have not been held accountable for misstep after misstep after misstep that turned out to not be missteps, but purposely being done. It's funny because it seems like whenever you take money from that person, your views and your coverage just seems to go in the direction that fucking donor wants it to go. That's what happens. And I will give you this. I will give Cenk credit here, which it was super weird because I wasn't expecting it. But when everybody else on TYT went off the fucking rails attacking Tulsi, Cenk was the only one who actually defended her. Super weird. Don't get it. Don't understand it. But I'm going to give him credit there. That's the only thing that he's done this election cycle that I actually admire, because it took a lot to stand up to all these people yelling at you in your ear for defending Tulsi. Cool. But this is what Cenk deserves. You've been baiting and switching progressives for the last 4 years, Cenk. Karma's a bitch. I don't know how else to say that. But she is. Not only is Karma a bitch, but she's also undefeated. And that's a fact. So, with that being said, that's my petty hater of the year perspective. Now, an objective take. So, why would Bernie rescind his endorsement, despite the fact that Cenk has already been held accountable for this, despite the fact that this is rehash, that this is clearly just a hit piece? Because it doesn't look good on Bernie's behalf. It doesn't. It just doesn't. This comes off as making him look more responsive to mainstream critiques of he or people he supports than he is responsive to his supporters. Now, he makes a claim in his tweet that he was responding to supporters criticizing the endorsement, but like, I want to be clear, Bernie has endorsed people like Daraca in California, many of you are familiar with him, who was toxic. He was toxic, and he didn't rescind his endorsement. People were pissed about the fact that Bernie endorsed Tim Canova and then completely pulled back, never kept his end of the bargain. And that was because of what the establishment pushed him to do. So it seems that Bernie is more responsive to mainstream attacks than he is the progressive movement, and that is problematic. Damn what you think about Cenk, that is problematic. Reynaldo Moreno, thank you for the super chat. You are amazing, Niko. I'm so glad I'm on your side of truth. Alpha male you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But my thing is, as much as we can, I can critique Cenk on a lot of issues. I do believe that he will vote progressive 70 to 75% of the time. And I do believe on domestic issues specifically, he would vote progressive 100% of the time, because his record, his brand, TYT's brand, depends on it. Period, point blank. Foreign policy, unfortunately, Bernie and Cenk are like damn near identical, and that's not a good thing. So the moral of the story is, for Bernie's situation specifically, it made perfect sense for him to just keep the endorsement, and that would have been a teaching moment. It could have been we can't continue to punish people for what they did 20 years ago. It's especially when they've apologized, especially when they've shown. And I do believe that Cenk is genuinely apologetic about that. There are things that he is not apologetic about, and he's very open about those things. Sarah Min, thank you for the super chat. Anna Kasparian and neo-progressive fame chasers Vigilant, Brooks, and Cedar are useful idiots for the military-industrial complex and the intelligence state. I mean, yeah, damn, I can't really say that any better than that. But I appreciate the super chat, though. But in all seriousness, Cenk would have been a good ally to Bernie in his particular agenda in Congress. No matter how much I personally do not like him, I know that okay, you know what Cenk is like? Cenk is kind of like Ro Khanna. Cenk is like Ro Khanna. When he's good, he's good. When he's bad, you knew it was coming. Right? Is that a good description of Cenk? When he's good, he's good. When he's bad, you knew it was coming, and you're not even surprised by it. But that helps Bernie in Congress. I'm not saying have Cenk run his campaign. But when you make an endorsement like that and you rescind it because of political pressure from the mainstream, it makes it look like you don't have a backbone. Because the only reason that Bernie hasn't defended Tulsi to the degree that he should have is because of what? Political pressure. Why does he call Maduro a dictator and then sits here and tells everybody he wants socialized medicine like in Canada? He said, I'm not talking about that Venezuelan socialism. I'm talking about that Canadian socialism. Bro, it's just... Actually, I would make an argument that Venezuela's medicine, medical, or national health care service is better than Canada's. I think they would make the same argument. But why does he do that? Why is it that you can celebrate Evo Morales and defend him, as you should, but get Venezuela wrong? Pressure. Why is it that you can defend Lula but then introduce a resolution to overthrow Gaddafi? Well, that's that's a different situation. But because of pressure, that's why. And it's becoming a pattern. Jay Wood, hope we're all still happy when a centrist wins that seat. I hate TYT now, but be real, he was the best. No, I agree, Jay Wood. I agree with that. That was the assessment that I initially made about this whole situation whenever Cenk announced. I agree. I think that it is disingenuous for any objective observer to claim that the other candidates are more progressive or better in any way, form, or fashion than Cenk would be. Even if it's for pragmatic reasons, Cenk would be better than anybody else. And by Bernie abandoning him, he is kind of setting Cenk up to lose this district, because this is the story that is going to dictate the narrative going forward for Cenk, which means now we're going to potentially have someone who is worse than Katie Hill. And Katie Hill was a Zionist neoliberal, but Christy Smith, I believe her name is worse. I think George Papadopoulos is running for office. Like, it's a red district. It's just not going to be pretty. These are the facts. As inconvenient as they must be, like I said, y'all know how I feel about Cenk. Like I feel like I'm clearly not shy about my feelings about Cenk. And it's funny because I don't like Cenk, but I think he will be better, and he would have served Bernie's purposes. And I love Bernie. I love Bernie as a person. I love his family, but he fucked up here. He didn't make a good decision here. I'm a contrast. I'm gonna be a Tulsi cultist for a second. Okay? Do you all know that I was smeared by Huffington Post? Some of you may not know. A lot of you do, but some of you may not know this. I was smeared by the Huffington Post. Badly. Whenever Tulsi got a hold of that smear, she and her sister and her press assistant had emailed me and were like, welcome to the club, and laughed about it. They laughed about it because they knew if the establishment was smearing me, then it must be because I'm on the right side. And even if it was something that was bad from my past, which there wasn't anything bad in it. I mean, they were trying to spin and do what they do, and they lied a lot. But even if it was something from my past, Tulsi wouldn't have just cut off campaign ties with our network because of a past. She wasn't going to cut off Fiorella and Pasta because of my past. She wasn't going to cut me off because of my past. You get what I'm saying? In fact, she laughed about it, and she had the understanding to say, hold on. If he's being smeared, well, now I know Niko is on the right side and he's on the side of the movement. That is what I would like to see Bernie do more. But he does not do that. He does not. That's his weakness, is capitulating to his advisors. The advisors who weren't really all that good at doing what they did before. But they end up on Bernie's campaign because they have this change of heart. They give this sob story about how they didn't want to be neoliberals, but they were forced to be in that situation. And they give Bernie the sad eyes. And they say, and look, I'm a person of color. You can use it. Hire me. I'm a person of color. No black men, though. No black men. Just people of color. That's another problem for him too, by the way. And because of that, this is what happens. It's a bad move. It was not a good decision. In my humble opinion, it was not a good decision. It's not gonna hurt Bernie. It's not gonna kill his campaign. Once again, petty take though is that karma's a bitch. That's my petty take. But I really hope that Bernie develops some courage before he takes office. It's because it's looking like he is going to walk off with it. Depending on how Iowa and New Hampshire go, it is looking like he may walk off with the nomination. And that's fine. But it's only going to be fine if he's going to display the political courage needed to fight this establishment and this system. And time again, I've seen people that work for him fight the system more than he has. I've seen Nina fight and fight. Whenever Bernie when he got it way wrong on reparations, and Nina would not budge and eventually pushed him left. Killer Mike supported Jill Stein after Bernie. Cornel West would not bend over to Hillary after 2016. He still loves Bernie. He says all the time. I feel the same way. I love Bernie, man. He is a good guy. Like, Bernie is genuinely a great person. His family is amazing. Levy is radical. His son is more radical than Bernie is. Jane is actually further left than Bernie is, for those of you who do not know. Jane is further left than Bernie. I know a lot. Jane wanted Bernie to go independent and join the movement for the People's Party. That's how far left Jane is. She's done with the Democrats. Levy, same thing. However, with that being said, he has blind spots as a politician, and they have to be addressed. Have to be addressed. And we can't keep pretending like it's not there. You have to teach a lesson in this. That's what leaders do. When you were proposed with this situation, all you had to do was say, you know what? I'm not going to punish Cenk for something he's already apologized for. You want to critique him for taking that damn money? That's a different discussion that we can have. You want to critique him for A, B, C, or D? That's a different discussion we can have. But I'm not going to rescind my endorsement because he was learning and growing in a different time, the same as you, the same as me. Because if that's what we're going to do, then I got to hold Bernie accountable for for introducing legislation to overthrow Gaddafi, which led to Libya becoming a slave state. I got to hold Bernie accountable for saying in 2017 that Palestinians don't deserve equal rights under a one-state solution because that he fears that they might wipe out Israel, which is a little xenophobic. I got to hold Bernie accountable for not. He had a chance to introduce legislation and co-sponsor legislation to get big money out of politics. Did y'all know that? Move to amend. He had a chance to do this almost a decade ago, I want to say. Yeah, almost a decade ago. And he refused to do it. I got to hold him accountable for all those foreign policy votes. I got to hold him accountable for capitulating to the Democrats 10, 20 years ago. I got to hold him accountable for running against a progressive and using right-wing talking points when he was running in Vermont. But that's stupid to do that, right? Like, we're not going to hold him and excoriate him, hold him accountable and excoriate him. We can hold him accountable. We're not going to excoriate him for something he did in 1996, 1997, if he's shown that he has grown and learned. Right? I would think so. Just like I don't expect that nobody do that with Tulsi. So I don't expect us to do that with Cenk, especially in Cenk's case, when we have so much present day shit we can cover on him. Period, point blank. Jackson Facts, thanks for the super chat. Seems like a decision that was made by Cenk, not Bernie. Roe just tweeted out that Cenk asked Bernie Roe. Yeah, no, that's not how politics works. I appreciate the super chat, and I appreciate you have a smear piece come out, and then you beg for the endorsement. You get the endorsement. You're hype about the endorsement. The smear piece comes out an hour or a day after the smear piece comes out. Or excuse me, less than 12 hours after the smear piece comes out. Cenk tweets that he won't be accepting any endorsements. And then Bernie tweets out that it was his. He tweets out, Bernie tweeted this out. I'll bring it back up. Cenk has been a long-time fighter against corruption. However, our movement is bigger than any one person, and I hear my supporters who are frustrated and understand their concern. So it wasn't just Cenk. Bernie had been getting in anybody who's been following this endorsement. Bernie was getting lit up in the comment sections in the his mentions before the LA Times article. Before that. So it isn't like, that's the dumbest thing. I'm not accepting any endorsements from the most popular progressive candidate in the country. Why would I do something like that? That's a dumb. And what was so disingenuous about Cenk's tweet was like, he's like, now, although I've received support from, and he proceeds to list all the popular progressives he got from Bernie and Nina and Ro Khanna and others. I'm not accepting their endorsement from Bernie, Nina, and Ro Khanna, although they clearly support me. Bernie, Nina, and Ro Khanna all support me, but I'm not accepting their endorsements. But if they wanted to endorse me, I would be happy with the endorsement, but I can't accept it from Bernie, Nina, and Ro Khanna, who all like my campaign. Like, no, if you're not accepting endorsements, why are you bringing up Bernie, Nina, and Ro Khanna's name? Come on. Matthew Perot. Yeah, actually, that's exactly what it is. Reverse psychology. Exactly what it is. So, he can spin it however he wants to. But at the end of the day, nah. Like, I think that the campaign contacted him out of a courtesy. Okay? Or they answered the phone out of courtesy. But, and I mean this in the nicest way possible. Nicest way possible. I know Bernie. Bernie was going to rescind that endorsement. And even if he didn't do it, like this, he would have just put him in a Tim Canova corner where he just would never talk about him again, wouldn't campaign for him, wouldn't speak about him, wouldn't fundraise for him, might not even go on TYT anymore. So, yeah. Like I said, though, for all the animosity I have towards Cenk politically, I just feel like this is a weak move by Bernie. Sometimes, man, you gotta stick to your guns. You gotta fight. You gotta show you're gonna stand for something. You gotta show you're gonna stand for something, bro. And this is what I said, man. This is what I said about whenever Bernie lightweight threw Tulsi under the bus with the debate situation, if you all recall, when he defended the DNC on The View, because they have too many candidates. They're in a tough position. I said it then. I said, if you won't defend your best friend, if you won't stand up, or not your best friend, excuse me, if you won't stand up for a friend and a friend and a colleague who is stuck by your side every single step of the way, even when they dragged her career through the mud because of it, oh, damn, I feel bad for everybody else because I know you're going to throw them under the bus. That's a fact. And look what happened. And then when you see once again, look at this situation, look at Tim Canova, look at how he threw Tulsi under the bus. But once again, you can throw them under the bus, but then you'll write a letter to Center for American Progress and an open letter to the New York Times to defend Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker. That is the issue with Bernie. His policies, domestically at least, are not the issue. It's a consistent pattern of capitulating to the establishment and not learning how to read the room. Bernie will end up with his karma also. That is what I am for. I'm not even joking. I'm afraid of this. I am afraid of the karma that Bernie may receive. I'm genuinely afraid of it. Maraba Iktara. Bernie never went on Jimmy Dore. It says a lot. It does. It does. Francisco Raposo. Corporate Dems skipping debate because they know attendance would drop anyway. Since progressives skipped first, and that would hinder their credibility. You know what's funny? I saw that. And the first thing I thought was, I'm not joking. Now, granted, Bernie does not skip picket lines. He does not do it. He does not do it. He is very, very firm when it comes to standing with the workers. Facts. He could have asked them to move the venue, but he's very clear that he's not going to. Now, here's the thing about that. Here's the thing. Andrew Yang, too. And Bernie, and I believe somebody else said it too, Warren. And you know the first thing I thought of? Because you know what Tulsi said. She's like, you know what? I ain't going to that damn debate. I'll be busy campaigning in New Hampshire, the state I'm about to steal from you guys. Toodaloo. See you in the snow. And Bernie and Yang were like, oh, hell no. I'm standing with the workers, and we will not be at that debate crossing that picket line. We're going to stand with these workers. But we're going to stand with y'all from New Hampshire while we campaigning, though. Is that cool? Can I give y'all a call? Can we Skype in to show solidarity? Because I'm not about to let Tulsi steal New Hampshire from us. Oh, man. But in all seriousness, think about it. How long have I been saying Tulsi's about to steal New Hampshire? How long have I been saying this? Large monarch march. Tulsi probably can't win Hawaii. Is that a joke? Was that sarcasm? You are aware that she is literally the most popular Hawaiian politician in the history of Hawaii. You know the only politician that's quote unquote more popular than her that technically is a native Hawaiian was literally Barack Obama. But he isn't even Hawaiian, like if we're being real. So like you're aware of this, right? Like literally that's not conjecture. That is a fact. She is the most popular politician and most well-liked politician in Hawaii's not last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years in the history of the tiny little island. Yeah. Nah. You know how many times the establishment has tried to run against her and got their ass handed to them? They tried to run a bunch of candidates the last election. None of them even came close. I think the person closest to her was like 20 points behind her. So yeah. How can you support Cenk? I don't support Cenk. Where you get that from? It seems Biden, Klobuchar, and Peter are also skipping. Bro, are you kidding me? If they really skip, bro, Tulsi is officially the trendsetter of this election. Everything she does. Remember Iran? She was like, we can't go to war with Iran. All of a sudden, everybody else was like, yeah, we can't go to war with Iran. You're right, Tulsi. And they would never give her credit for that. Man. That's funny. Bethlehem, I hope she does still New Hampshire. I hope she still New Hampshire too. And anybody can listen, y'all. If y'all think it's a coincidence, if you now the labor situation, the strike is a real thing. That's really happening. But it was a suitable excuse. Because now Buttigieg, you think Warren does not want to be on that debate stage. She does not want to be attacked. She does not want to be held accountable. She doesn't want to deal with any of that shit anymore. Buttigieg is running for his life right now. Running for his life because he is getting excoriated. Okay? He's getting destroyed. Even by the mainstream as of late. Okay? So there's that. Yang doesn't need the debates. Social media does all his work for him. Bernie does not need the debates either. Debates at this point for Bernie Sanders could only hurt him and not help him. He is that high up on the totem pole. Biden, come on. You think Biden wants to be out in public? No. If Tulsi wins New Hampshire, they know what comes next. If Tulsi wins New Hampshire, she might win this election. Jimmy Carter polled at 1% nationally until he spent all his time campaigning in Iowa, stole Iowa, and went on to win the Democratic primary nomination. Tulsi is what we call a student of the game. She is a student of the game, and she is studied more than anybody else. Nothing she does is coincidental. Nothing she does is not well thought out. Well, some of her tweets can be not well thought out. But strategically, I mean, nothing she does is not well thought out. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. Yeah, that was way longer than it was supposed to be. So, yeah, I appreciate you all tuning in. Thanks for all the super chats and the love. I had to do an evening show because I feel like I've been doing so many daytime shows that y'all haven't been able to catch me in the daytime for you people with day jobs. So I'm glad we got to catch up tonight. As usual, much love to the loyals out here. If you came here just to hate, we appreciate you too. You know, we got all the aloha in the world for you. I mean, you can EAD. If you don't know what that is, look it up on Urban Dictionary. But we still got love and aloha for you, no matter how many D's you EA. Anyway, if you have not yet, we have our weekly podcast with me and Robbie Yeager called MCSC Uncensored. And it's on Rockfin Premium, but there is a cheat code. If you do not have Rockfin Premium, if you are a patron on Patreon, you can check it out there for as little as $1. It's $1 to become a patron on Patreon, people. That's all it takes. $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. But it goes back to the show. It goes back to helping us stay alive. And trust me, you want to listen to our MCSC Uncensored podcast. Trust me on that one, okay? We talk shit. We just some shit talking people. I promise you. Just talking shit. I mean, with some facts in logic at some point. But it's a lot of shit talking. It's fun. We have a good time. And so if you want to catch that, just become a patron or follow us or subscribe to us on Rockfin and become a premium member. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into that live stream segment of Mikasa Tsukasa. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell if you like that segment of Mikasa Tsukasa. Of course, if YouTube is giving you trouble, as it always does, you can download the Rockfin app and follow us there. Also, if you want to continue to help our show grow, you can help us reach our goal of 500 patrons on Patreon and donate as little as $1. Really, anything helps. Other than that, always remember, people, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.